La Jolla has a problem. We've got tourists causing trouble, and we have environmental groups such as the Sierra Club making money off of the locals by banning us from the beaches. Now, the Sierra Club is currently moving towards closing their third beach. They've already closed Seal Rock, Children's Pool, and now they're moving to close Point La Jolla, followed by most likely the Cove or Shell Beach. This is a continual incremental process, the classic death by 1,000 paper cuts. Let me describe the situation to you. Let me share my screen. Okay, here we have Point La Jolla. This is in La Jolla. This spot has been in use since 1933. The people that want to keep this open, San Diego Freedivers, Watermen's Alliance, and the Coastal Conservation Association. There's other organizations that we're working on. What's the problem? It's people petting pinnipeds. You see the nice lady over here getting a selfie of being very caring and rubbing the seal's belly, it looks like. Yes, the sea lion's belly. This one's a sea lion. And here's her dutiful partner catching that. So why is she doing that? Why aren't people petting seals? That's because their role models are petting seals. Here's the founder of Sea Shepherd, cheek to cheek in a seal, role modeling how to do it. Here he is with a large fur seal. Is he alone? No, here's this cover of his book, demonstrating how to hug a seal. Here's Greenpeace, copyrighted Greenpeace image, how to pet a seal. This is not restricted to fuzzy little white ones. Here's an elephant seal, nice selfie opportunity. Looks like a really bad situation to me, but this is what apparently the environmental role models want us to do, such as the Sierra Club. Here's another person. He picked up, looks like a fur seal, and he's hugging it. Here is another example. This is a fairly benign image, but still way too close. Getting a selfie with a seal. This one is an image role model for the Sierra Club itself, showing how to interact with seals appropriately according to their standards in Point La Jolla. This is Point La Jolla right here. You can see the scripts here in the background. This is, by the way, Ellen Shively. She's one of the main people driving this closure. So, where do the seals normally haul out? According to 2016 Hannon Doyle report, the seals are mostly over here on the East Bluffs. This is the Cove. They also haul out on the Cove. This is Point La Jolla. You can see there are very few study sites there. She does acknowledge they show up there. They also show up down here at Goldfish Point. Historically, they've been here. So, reason why Point La Jolla is important. It's been continually in use by the spearfishing, surfing, and surf fishing communities. Continuing use since 1933. This is where the spearfishing sport got started. It is equivalent to Rome or the Vatican for spearfishermen. Here's some other pictures. This is no man's spot right behind me here, behind these guys. You can see this is so old, they didn't even have snorkels. Now, we've been losing access to the ocean incrementally, and we've been good sports about it. For instance, when they expanded the Marine Reserve, they said, hey, you can go across Alligator Head, this is Arch, walk across the Arch, jump in the water, nice protected water here, calm, and go diving. This side is a reserve. The other side is not a reserve. The arch collapses in 78. We were never made whole. We weren't granted additional access. We didn't complain. Then about 10 years ago, they expanded the marine reserves again. We lost access. We didn't complain. The Sierra Club and Surfrider and a whole bunch of other environmental groups closed children's pool. We lost access. We complained somewhat, but okay, we can live with it. They closed Seal Rock, didn't complain. Now, this is one step too far. How many more closures do we want before we say something? It's the classic death by 1,000 paper cuts. So why is Point La Jolla important? This area is a marine reserve. Here's Alligator Head, what's left of it, right? So you cannot fish in here. You cannot pick up seashells. No take of biologic, geologic, or archaeological resource, letter of the law. This area is open to fishing and take. This is where you can feed your family. The dominant swell direction comes here, so you can see why Alligator Head was so important, because you're protected from the waves in this, because this is a rocky shoreline. It can be very dangerous. The other thing is, it's a rocky shoreline, and this is a point that makes it an incredible break for Boomer Beach. This is a map of the emergency closure requested by La Cava's office, engineered by Brian, his staffer. You can see it looks like a pork chop. And what he does is he closes off the two main access points, because it's a wall. You have a little staircase here and the way around the fence right here. Now, this pork chop is important. This is no man's. This is where you get in and out. Nobody wants to go diving here. It's too dangerous. Everybody wants to go in and out right here. This is a reserve. Now, keep in mind, I want you to pay special attention to this corner on the building. It's going to get important here. This is how they enforced it. I superimposed the pork chop on top of it. Here's that corner again, right? Here's where they put their big orange hay rail thing. Over here, this bottom leg of the pork chop is very telling. It tips their hand on what they truly intend to do with this closure. And that is close 2/3 of La Jolla's beach access. 2/3. Right, the rest of it's fairly consistent, but this is interesting. Why add this? Why add this leg and then put your rail over here? La Cava's office, by the way, or Brian from La Cava's office rather, indicated that, oh, this K-rail is always over here. Oh, this does not restrict access to Boomer Beach. It absolutely does. You cannot get down there safely with the pork chop intact. Okay, 2/3 of the beach. How did I come up? Here's the Matla Hollow Reserve boundary. Here's no man's. Here's that little building again. Remember the corner? There it is. Now, in order to get down to here, you have to walk along up here and come down. This is all from here, all the way over is a cliff. You can't get to the beach. Next available beach is Shell Beach. Children's pools over here, seasonal closure. Now we're looking at a seasonal closure functionally from here all the way to there. This is a cliff. You cannot access the beach across the cliff safely. The equivalent of closing the first story on a 10-story building and saying, oh, we didn't close the other floors. You can't get to the other floors until you go through the first floor. Same thing, you can't get here unless you go through there. So historically, the seals were over here on East Bluffs. It's the code, East Bluffs. Sierra Club didn't say anything when the seals were over there. It kind of makes you wonder why. It's because they're not interested in the seals. They're interested in removing all humans from the entire La Jolla coastline, one paper cut at a time, 1 square foot at a time. So it looks small, but it's a big win for closures and keeping you out of the water and off the beach. Historic access. Historically, the sea lions are over here, right? Point La Jolla, East Bluffs. They've been here since I was a little kid. They were dispersed because somebody opened a gate. Here's the gate. And the city's been spraying chemicals. Here's what it looked like historically. This is what it normally looked like. Here's what it looked like beginning of the month. The seals go move freely back and forth, highly trainable. That's why they use them to balance balls on their noses. You can train them to do anything. So why are the seals moving over to Point La Jolla? Because of this gate. You put a $10 lock, okay, a city lock. It costs $50. You had a foreman and a consultant come over to put a lock on. Keeps the people out, and it keeps the East Bluffs open. So who really wants to close Point La Jolla? It's these two women and a guy named Roger. Here's Ellen from the prior photo, Ellen Shively, also known as Grandma Blackheart. In the Sierra Club magazine, sitting in Point La Jolla, doing the very thing she's trying to keep you from doing. Here's Jane Reel and her sidekick, doing what she does best, protest. She's retired. She's got a lot of protesting time on. Here's Ellen's own words. The seals moved because the city opened the gate, closed the gate, solved the problem. $50 city lock. You don't need to close Point La Jolla. Why are we even talking about this? The locals pay while tourists play. Well, it's more like the tourists get vanity shots. This is what we like to do. This is body surfing at Boomer. Great break. They're going to lose it. They even put in a sculpture of a call box. This is a functional call box. Back in the day before cell phones. You see Point La Jolla here in the background. Nice break, great day. This call box was donated by the body surfing community. This, by the way, is the only break in the Western US that is only body surfing only. This was deeded that way back in 1966. Also, there's some Native American agreements saying that they have to have access to Point La Jolla. And apparently the city's ignoring that one too. Other thing of interest out there, there's divers memorials. This has been going on since the beginning of time, the beginning of the sport. The spear fishermen, when one of their friends dies, they go out and they put a marker there, and then you go swim out through no man's and go out and honor the dead and clean the markers. Like here's one for the Conception dive boat. Here's one for Paul. I think they're putting Paul out here. Here's a guy cleaning another one. Other thing to consider here is this. We're spear fishermen. We're just feeding ourselves and our families. There is no bycatch. We very selectively take only what we're going to eat in the near future, like that evening. No bycatch. This is the most zero or almost zero carbon footprint. There's no boat, there's no gasoline burn. You jump in the water and you go catch dinner. Talk about low carbon footprint. Sierra Club seems to be against it. Also like to point out, we have a constitutional right to fish. We have a right to feed our families with fish. With that, I'd like to say that please stop giving money to the Sierra Club. They're trying to take your coastal access away. Speak up or forever lose your beach.